Hi, my beautiful viewers. Today I'm making, I'm baking today. So anyway, Thanksgiving coming soon, and this time of a year, usually I cook a lot. I also spend quite a bit of a time in the garden doing lots of digging, etc., because the ground is, soft and it's easy to dig, and to do lots of transplanting and planting this time of a year. But I also really love spending time baking and cooking and doing lots of different things, because it's kind of cloudy here in the winter time. We don't get snow or anything because it's a warmer climate, but we do get, it gets chilly and rainy kind of season for us. And so I really like spending time at home doing lots of cooking and baking and stuff. So, and I thought, okay, this would be probably a really good time to make a video of baking some pastries today. So this is these pastries are from one of my childhood pastries. It actually traditionally, I'm Armenian originally, and so that's where the recipe really comes from, but this is a little bit modified from the traditional recipe. It makes a beautiful, flaky, beautiful dough and a nice walnut filling inside. My family loves it, and so I thought I'm going to make some for us anyway, and I thought, you know what, I'll make a video. So when I prepare this dough, so I have to put it in a refrigerator for at least 3 hours. You also can make the dough one day ahead of time and leave it in a refrigerator until the next day you're ready to prepare. So today I'm making 2 portions, because when I bake, I always like to make it extra, to bake some extra stuff to give it away to people, friends, families, and so I'm going to make 2 portions today, but I will go ahead and post the recipe on YouTube, so you guys can have actual recipe for it. So I hope this inspires you. I hope you enjoy it, and maybe you might like to make some for your family or Thanksgiving. And honestly, when we used to live in Colorado, Thanksgiving and Christmas was my absolute favorite holidays, and of course many of yours. And for Thanksgiving, we always had lots of people at our house, lots of friends, at least 15 people maybe. And so I always made lots of food for us. But I love making all the traditional food, and I absolutely love making the turkey and the stuffing and all these beautiful things. But I also like to incorporate some of the new things from my culture to the table for special occasions, especially when we had our friends and family to taste something different. So if that's what you like to do, to break away a little bit or introduce something new to your table, this might be something that you would like to make. And so I'm going to prepare the dough first, and then I have some chores in the garden that I have to do. And I thought, while the dough is resting in the refrigerator, in the meantime, I can maybe just go ahead and do some chores. I need to go ahead and prepared all the peonies for the winter, trim some hydrangeas like arborvitae and hydrangeas. They really need to be trimmed. And also I have a rhododendron that I planted. I purchased another one of the one that I planted in my last video. It's called Wine and Roses. It was just so beautiful, and I have a spot for it, so I'm going to plant another one of that. So I have a few things in the garden to do, and I thought I can just do a video. You guys can see what I'm doing, because now it's just a lot of maintenance and stuff in the garden. And then we will just come back and I can bake our pastries, and you can see how beautiful they are. So hope you enjoy this video. We'll go ahead and start. So for this recipe, for the dough, I start with 3 cups of flours. I am making double portions. So and I suggest when you use your flour, use less and add more if you wanted to, because sometimes when you add more, you can take it away if the dough is kind of, gets dry. So you want it to be a little on the softer side, because it always comes out a little better when it's on in a softer side. And if you feel like you need to add a little more flour, then you can add some more. So okay, we go ahead and start. So I am going to add my flour. Okay, so I went ahead and added two. I'm sorry, four and a half. No, five. Excuse me, 5 cups. I'm going to start with the 5 cups. The recipe requires 3 cups for one portion. I technically need 6, but I'm going to underuse the flour and see how much I will be needing it. So and that's what I suggest you to do. I just think it turns out better that way, but it is your choice. So I'm going to add butter, and butter needs to be cold. So I'll post the recipe for you, but for example, for me, I usually just like going with, so I'm going to add butter about this much for 2 portions. And that's a lot of butter, but this recipe is kind of like our pie crust, right? So we have to use a cold butter, and we are going to cut them. So like that. And I forgot to tell you also that there is several different ways to make this pastry, of course, but I usually like to make one part of the pastry with walnuts and apricot preserve, and then the other part I'd like to use chocolate or Nutella. You can use Nutella as well with the walnuts. I'm sure it's going to be great. Sometimes I use, which in France we have a company called Milka. They also make really good kind of melted chocolate, and that I like to use as well in some things. Or you can use your own chocolate. Actually, this time I'm thinking to melt my own chocolate. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do, and just also taste it to see how, if that would be maybe a little better than just the one purchased from the store. But anyway, my stepson loves the chocolate one. We love the apricot one. So it depends which one you guys like. I suggest try both, because I think apricot is just absolutely beautiful. Has a great flavor with that. And walnuts and apricot just go so good together. And I'm having friends for coffee tomorrow, so I'm really excited because I will have nice pastry to serve with coffee. That's kind of a very European kind of way to have coffee, with always having some beautiful pastries, and I just enjoy it. It's so wonderful, peaceful, and fun for me. It's very creative. So if you guys have time, I know many of you guys are working a lot, as I used to do, but now I'm just really grateful that I can just do this and enjoy. Okay, so I add the butter. Actually, I think it's good, and so I will take my pastry cutter or ball scraper, whatever you guys call them, and I would just kind of go like that, and just keep cutting this butter with the flour until it gets, maybe I should put it on a counter because it makes noise, this little island. Okay, so our kitchen is really small. We have a great plans to make, to remodel this kitchen and open up some walls here, which would be really beautiful when we are done, but we're kind of not there yet, which is okay. We had lots of stuff to do before that, and hopefully we'll get to it soon. So anyway, you just keep cutting with your ball scraper this butter until it becomes like maybe pea size, becomes into pea size pieces. In fact, I might add a little more butter to this. It's not enough, I think. I can feel it. yeah, I think I'm going to add just a few more pieces into this, because I will post the recipe. For me, a lot of times I like to go with like what I feel, and there's nothing wrong with the recipe. It's just me. I might add just a little bit more. Okay, this is good. Okay, I'm gonna put this in here and okay, so I think I'm reaching to that consistency that we are ready to add some other ingredients into our dough. But I wanted to show you what it looks like, where you kind of feel like, okay, it's time to move forward from this process. You can see how it looks. It's kind of like everything is melted, but you can see there's still some pieces there that are, you know, not really blended, and that's what you want. You don't want all the butter to get blended, because that chunks that stays in the dough in a refrigerator will actually create really nice layered, beautiful flaky dough. So after this, we are going to add. The recipe requires cream cheese, but I really like using mascarpone cheese, which I use that a lot in France. They're very accessible, easy to find, and honestly I like to substitute them unless I can't, like for cheesecakes, etc. I can substitute mascarpone cheeses, but I like incorporating them if possible. And these guys are 250 grams each one, but like I said, I have the recipe for it. For two portions, I like to use 2 of this. And for any of you guys not familiar with mascarpone cheese, it's absolutely beautiful, creamy. It's almost like a cream cheese, but it just has a little sweeter taste to it. It's really beautiful. You can make frostings with that, creams, lots of different things. Very, very, if you haven't tried this, you should try them. And you can find mascarpone cheese in the US in literally almost any grocery stores, any supermarkets. In Colorado, we have King Soopers where they always carried this that I used to get. Okay, so this goes part of it to recycling. I'll just leave this here. My hands a little bit. So at this point, basically, we are going through the same process as we did with the butter, but we are going to mix this beautiful mascarpone cheese with our flour mixture, and we're just going to basically cut it through and mix them as much as possible to bring to those little chunks. Again, this dough is not going to be blended. Don't try to blend them really well together. It needs to stay chunky, kind of like, you know, if any of you guys make dough or like a pie dough, etc., you guys probably know that, you know, we just don't blend that very well. Okay, so at this point I'm going to add egg yolks. It requires 1 egg yolk per portion. For me, clearly I have to use 2 egg yolks for mine because I'm making double portion. And I could use a little bit more flour. I already can tell it's a little softer. I always like to go easy on the flour because, again, I can't take it back if it's too much. And one thing I really don't like when my dough gets very dry. So, oh, I need to move it here. Okay, that's better. Okay, and then I'll have to start kneading with my hands. So I will go ahead and add egg yolks. Okay. I want to see, make sure I'm not missing anything really quick. Okay, so no, I'm not. Oh, a pinch of salt. You can use salt if you want. I usually don't really use them, but just a little bit. I can just a pinch. Okay, so at this point, all we do is just mix our dough together, and hopefully I can knit and bring them together. Then we have to place them in the refrigerator. Has to be there at least 3 hours. And I washed my hands already, so I'm just, before I do this. And you kind of, it's very breakable, this dough. So you kind of gently have to work it in a little bit, and eventually it will come together. I'm going to bring on my cutting board. Got a new pruner, really excited. Okay, so at this point you see how kind of the dough has kind of come together like that, but it's still chunky, it's not really blended well, and it's looking really good. And this is why I don't add too much flour, because you know, when it's a little too much, it will not come together so well. And then the rest of the flours, I usually just use them and just knead them a little kind of gently on the flour, and that's kind of how I try to incorporate. And I really not much. I just kind of like to bring them together a bit, kind of like this. Okay. Okay, so we don't want to over knead this dough, definitely not. So our dough is ready, and now it has to sit in the refrigerator. This is 2 portion, double portion, so I'm going to cut this in 2 pieces and store them that way. So, and each piece will be cut in 2 places eventually for baking, and I'll show you how everything else goes, and I think you guys will absolutely love this. So, going to cut right in the center. You can see it kind of has all these layers, and this is after chilling for 3 hours. When we bake, you will see it just makes really beautiful, kind of almost pie-like dough. Okay, so there is one, and there is two. I love baking. I hope you guys do too. So I take 2 plastic bags, Ziploc plastic bags, and I can place them inside of each one, like this. Cover them. Okay, don't they look so good already? So I will go ahead and place them in the refrigerator for 3 hours, and then we'll meet in the garden and try to do some gardening chores. Then we'll come back and bake them when they're ready. We'll see you soon. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. So yesterday we were supposed to do stuff in the garden. Today is a new day. It didn't work out yesterday because things come up. This morning we had stuff to do. We wanted to go out and get the gardening started, but then we ran out of time. So we have guests coming in a couple hours. We decided to let's just get the baking part done, and that would also give me an opportunity to serve them when they come in with the coffee. So we'll get this part done. I need to do some cut flooring arrangements for the formal dining table. So we'll get this done, and then hopefully we'll get back into the garden, and George will put them all together. He's always really good at putting everything together for me. So anyway, we'll go ahead and start with our pastries. So I have 150 grams of walnuts here, and I have 200 grams of sugar, and I'm going to also use some vanilla and some cardamom. If you guys are not familiar with the cardamom, it's a really great spice. I always use them in my pastries, and mostly for pastries. So I'll show you how to start making the walnut mixture to go inside of our pastry, and then we'll go ahead and do the finishing part of it. So all right, usually I like to crush my walnuts with my rolling pin, but again, I have a food processor. I also use food processor for lots of things, but I really like the texture this way because it doesn't get too fine. The consistency is, to me, it's better this way, but you can use food processor as well. It's not going to hurt anything. So here is my walnut, and I'll show you how I do it. So basically, I just crush them really quick, kind of like that. Again, you can use food processor or any other tool that you have that makes it faster for you. So this is the consistency that I like to have. You can see a little close up that it's not so fine. It actually is a little chunkier, which I kind of like it a little better this way. But obviously, you can do any way you like. So I'll just use this one. So we'll put our walnuts here. Okay. Then I'm going to use 200 grams of sugar here, and as I said, I'll add the recipe so you can see the recipe. So I'll mix them really well. And keep in mind that we don't have any sugar in our pastry dough. So basically the sweetness is going to come from the stuffing. But also just keep in mind, you can use more sugar if you like or less sugar. I really like this consistency for me. We don't really like too sweet. So because sometimes when it's too sweet, you kind of, in my opinion, of course, it kind of loses a bit of a flavor of the pastry. So I kind of like not to use too much sugar. So here we have some cardamom, and cardamom it has just such a great, or adds such a great flavor to the pastries, especially these Armenian ones that I like to make. Okay, so there is our cardamom. I'm going to also add a little bit of a vanilla in there. Okay. So at this point, we need to also add a little bit of egg whites. Kind of like if just a fluffy egg whites. For example, if you're making meringue, we do it the same technique. But I have one egg white here that I already put in my bowl. So the egg white needs to be in a room temperature. Usually it's better. So I'll go ahead and start. Okay, so this is actually, I'll show you, here we go. So this is the consistency of egg white. Usually if you add sugar to it, which you could, it makes it stiffer. But for this particular pastry, we don't really need to be very specific with the egg white, as long as it gets, to be foamy like this. We are not even going to use all of it. And I'll show you how we want to use this. So a little bit here, and I usually mix it with the walnut mixture well and see how it does, because this will really bring it together and kind of make it a little sticky for our pastries. So mix it really well first before you add more, because it can get quite moist in there. We don't want to be too moist. Okay, so for example, this is getting pretty good. I'll add a little bit more. Okay, I think this looks quite good right here. You see, it's not very sticky, but it's kind of sticky a little bit. It just brings everything together, just like that. See the consistency? It's kind of sticky a little bit. You can see it's a little moister than before, but it's not really too moist. It's not wet, but it's just kind of moist a little bit. Okay, so I think I used maybe half of that. I'll just put them here for now. Okay. So as I explained in the beginning when I was preparing pastries, I explained that we have, I'll just put this in the fridge because I had a little extra of that. So as I said, I'm going to make some with apricot preserve and some with melted chocolate. So this chocolate is plenty because really it doesn't go in too much. This is just a dark chocolate. You can use many different ways. You can use Nutella, or you can, get ganache. I melted my chocolate myself. It's just basically I melted in the microwave and then added a little bit of milk and kind of have brought it to the consistency that I think it's good. So I can show you the consistency. It's kind of like, it's almost like a ganache like that. You see, kind of like that. And I kind of like that because it's not too thick and it's not too thin. So okay. So that's that. So now we have to bring, and for the dough, just wanted to let you know that we shouldn't bring all the dough out at one time. Keep it in a refrigerator and then you start working it because it's better for the dough to stay to stay chilled while we're working the rest. So I'm going to turn on my oven to 190. 190, 375 Celsius, George? Celsius. I'm sorry, Fahrenheit? Fahrenheit for the US and 190 in European. What it's called for the European? Celsius. Celsius and Fahrenheit, yes. So, okay. Okay. So we'll just wipe the table well. Okay. So we're going to start with a little bit of a flour on the table. Okay, so this is the dough that we prepared yesterday. We are going to divide this in 2 pieces. I could make sure I get this here. And knife. Did I throw away the plastic? That's okay, I'll just keep this one. Okay. If it breaks like that, it's no big deal. Just go ahead and bring it back together. So our goal is to make it round as possible. Okay, so I would suggest not to make it too, not to open it too thin. And I can show you, you can see the consistency right here. So it's not really too thin. Okay, then we are going to cut them into the different wheels. So we'll cut them through the center, like that. And then I usually cut it right in the middle. And then I'll cut them in the middle again on each side, like that. And like that. Okay. Okay, so you can see we have beautiful pieces, pizza-like pieces. So we can start with the chocolate, for example. So it's our chocolate mixture, this is our walnut mixture. So I take a little bit of my chocolate and just place them like that, and not too much. I don't think too much is good because it will overpower, the flavor will overpower. So you just want just a little bit. And then a little bit of a walnut mixture. Just put them like that. Okay. And you try to roll it tightly. I promise you, it's delicious. Okay, and the edge, try to pinch in a little bit to make sure it gets stuck. It's better that way. Okay, there is one. Okay, so here we go. It's all ready to go. We don't need to do egg wash or anything like that. We don't need to brush with anything. So we'll just go ahead and put it in the oven, and it will take maybe about 15 minutes or so. It will be ready. And as soon as it gets a little pink, I'll take it out basically. And the oven is already preheated. Make sure that you place it in an oven that is preheated. All right, so this goes into the oven. So in the meantime, while that's baking, we are going to make the apricot one. Okay. Has a little bit of a chocolate in there from the table, but it's okay. Oh my goodness, this thing. Ask. Thank you. Oh no, it's a bee. Oh. Did he go out? We open the window. We open the window. Okay. And to grab some serving plates. Okay, so I think we are ready to take out our pastries. It's been about 15 minutes or so, 15, 20. So I'll show you what they look like. I think they're ready to come out. Yes, they are. So this is what they look like. You see how beautiful and puffy this dough is. It's very flaky and beautiful. It just crumbles in your mouth when you eat them. My family absolutely loves it. So I'm going to remove them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let this cool down, and we're going to bake the rest. Okay, while we're waiting, maybe we can go to the formal dining room and see what's going on with my flower bouquet. We can take a look and maybe remove certain things and clear out the space for new flowers. We can just go right this way. Okay, so let's go to the formal dining room. Look at this beautiful bouquet I had. I think they're starting to get a little older, but they look so good still. So I'll let them be for a little longer. And then in our formal dining room, I think they're almost finished. So we need to take these guys out and remove them and see if we have more in the garden to maybe replace them with some fresh ones. And the last time when I did the video, when I was working in our formal dining room, you guys saw everything was so out of place and looked really terrible. But anyway, just wanted to show you I'm completely finished with my projects. Remember, I was painting all this. It used to be yellow fabric here, so I actually painted blue. It's looking good. I finished all the French doors, so I really like how it turned out. So this one is done. It's always such a good feeling to finish, you know, the little projects. That's why it's taking me so long to do videos, because I have so many things going on. So, okay, let's go outside and see what's going on here. So I think I'm going to maybe cut some things in the to throw into the compost here. This one is, no, it's okay. I think it needs to come out. Yeah. Okay, so pastry still need a little time. Let's go ahead and see if we can cut some flowers to make some arrangement. For example, this begonia looks really beautiful, and I think it's very soon I have to remove this, and I think I'm going to keep them for the season inside and then bring them back again in the spring, because I really like this begonia. Unfortunately, I lost the other one. But look, this looks so beautiful. And I also noticed that for the cut flowers, this begonia has lost quite a bit of a time. I really enjoyed having begonias. Not sure how to do this quite yet, but we'll figure it out. I like these guys because they kind of stay nice. We'll see. Okay. All right. Let's go check and see what else we have in the garden that needs to be cut. Garden is looking good. It's a leaf season. I have so many leaves to clean all the time nowadays. This season is just all about leaves. I'll put this together here. So let's see what we have. What do we have here? Okay, so we got some cut flowers here. Some of them are really finished, but they still look really good. Okay guys, so I think we're going to wrap up this video. It's getting too long. I wanted to do lots of other things, but I think we will do it in a different video. It got too long, so so anyway, just wanted to show you one more time how beautiful these pastries are. I hope that you will be making some of them for your Thanksgiving table or for the holidays, you know, for the Christmas, or just for your family to enjoy. I always make them for my family. We love it and it's beautiful. So here we go. Don't forget to subscribe to my videos if you like them, and have a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.